Good morning, Corona. Thank you so much for joining us. Your skin looks amazing.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Don. So good to see you.
So good to see you too. So let's just jump right on in. We are doing a little Q&A just so you can let others know about your experience and your transformation. So let's just start off by telling everyone how you found us and what made you get started with us.
Yeah, so I found you, I think like lots of people on Instagram, and I can't remember. I think it was one of your transformations that had like popped up in my feed, and I was following you all. At the time, I was working with a different provider who was prescribing protocols, but I was not happy with the results. Like I really wasn't getting any better. Um, I had always considered myself like a little bit of a skincare junkie. Like Sephora was always like my favorite place to shop. I was always like trying the next new thing, but I was really in the place where my skin was just getting worse and had gotten in my, I felt like was really bad. And I was really looking for like, I need someone to tell me exactly what to do because what I'm doing is not working and things are sort of going in the wrong direction. And so I joined one of your Zooms that you, like a new patient, Zoom and was I think I was the person who like really responded to how strong your point of view and guidance was and was like, yes, I need someone who's going to tell me like do exactly these things in exactly this order and do not do anything else because otherwise like I'll wander off and do stuff that's just like upsetting my skin.
I love the way that you describe my personality as strong. It's such a kind way of putting it.
Well, some
I am,
of us
I
need
am,
that.
yeah, like I am very strict. So either you like love it or you hate it, but I know what works. Like
Yeah.
I know exactly what works and I know that you can't deviate from it. And so like you have to have those strict guidelines. And it's just like, I mean, it's just like going to a trainer, tr getting you trained to get fit. Like you're never like you might love a trainer that's super nice and says, "Oh, it's okay to eat those thin mints between your meals and drink all the
Yeah.
Cokes and the gummy bears and chips and whatever." It's just a little bit. That's a trainer like, "Oh, they're so nice, they're so whatever." But I mean,
Yeah.
like, you're still I'm not in shape. Like,
Yeah.
see what I mean? Like, so
Yeah. Or
you have
like I just felt like maybe, other people I had worked with just didn't know that much because I would come with a problem and the reaction would be like, well, try this, or like try this, or try this. But I'm like, but like, can't you just like have the answer? Because if you're giving me like five different things to try, it just makes me feel like you don't know the answer?
yeah, and it does take a lot of time
Yeah.
to guide patients through the right way because it's not easy. And you know, I'm not saying everyone's like this, but it's not the most profitable thing that people could choose to do.
Yeah.
And so it's not always what you get. And you're right. A
Yeah.
lot of times people don't know. I'm sure there's tons of qualified people, but a lot of times people just don't know because
Yeah.
they haven't, experienced it or really brought people through these protocols. So
Yeah. Well, I think that was the other part is like I loved immediately from you on your Zoom how you just talked about your own story. And that really resonated with me. Like working with somebody, sometimes you walk into these skincare places, you're like, this person has never had a blemish in their life. And they don't know what they're talking about. Right. And so to know that you had actually just gone through this yourself with your own
Mhm.
pigment made me feel that much more comfortable.
It's yeah. I'm definitely not like the average person that you would see in a med spa. Like I'm not I feel like I'm pretty average. Like I'm not sometimes I even feel a little different than other providers out there because like I don't have all the hair and all the things. You know what I mean? Like I'm very plain. Like I am plain. So I don't always fit the bill, but I feel like I do connect with our patients.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just very real. That's what
It's
it
very
felt to
real.
me.
I'm very
Yeah.
real and very raw. Love it or leave it. How did your skin affect your day-to-day confidence and how you felt about yourself and just like how you went about your day?
Yeah, I was. I had had acne even like as a teenager, and so I was always someone that's like really skin focused. Like skin always impacted my self-esteem when it wasn't like perfect in my estimation, which it
Mhm.
never was. And I went through some periods of time where it was better or worse. And in post-pregnancy, that was when my pigment got really bad. And it just definitely never leaving the house without makeup on. I didn't even necessarily like to always like sit around my house without makeup on or without at least like washing my face and putting like tinted sunscreen on or something. Because I just didn't even like to look at my
Mhm.
skin in the mirror without anything on it, which is not a great feeling. And yeah, it would definitely prevent me from I have my own business and I meet with clients and stuff, and sometimes you just walk into those meetings feeling like partly self-conscious about how you look in some way, and that's just kind of distracting and not how I want to move around the world.
Yeah, I understand. I felt that way for a long time with my skin. My pigment really it can and maybe it wasn't this way with you, but with some people I know that I talk with, it really does. I mean, I actually met with someone who actually wore glasses to hide her pigment on the tops of her cheeks because they were so
Yeah,
like she literally wore like fake glasses and like made everybody like she to hide it. Like
like
so
as a distraction. Yeah, makes
yeah,
sense
it
to
just,
me.
and my pigment was so dark. I mean, like, I don't wear makeup. I tell everybody I suck at makeup. I failed the SC test twice because of makeup. Don't ever
Mhm.
pay me to do your makeup ever. I have, you see eyeliner on me, which is a bad old tattoo, which I don't recommend getting eyeliner tattoo ever because it boosts
Wow.
capillaries. Long story, another story. And I wear mascara, I have a little bit of lip gloss on, and that's it. Sunscreen. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never made up more than that. But whenever I had that laser treatment done, that caused my pigments, everybody's pigment comes from different, different reasons, but mine was laser induced. And it
Mm.
was like I had this wave of pigment all over my forehead, all over my
Mm.
cheeks. They stopped the laser at the jawline, and then kind of hopped down to another, like they spot treated the neck. And so I had this line of demarcation. I mean, my pigment was purple black. So I
Wow.
can't even begin to describe like the depression that I went through and just feeling
Yeah.
defeated. Um,
Yeah.
especially someone that sucks at makeup and doesn't know how to cover things up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for
I'm similar.
years.
Like, and I just never was a big makeup person to begin with, like always more like tinted moisturizer or something like that. And I still don't even wear like lipstick and stuff just because I don't like the way it feels on my skin. But then if you don't feel good about how you look, it becomes this constant like, I don't know. It felt like a little bit of a no-win situation, and where I ended up just spending so much money and time was like going down every rabbit hole about individual products that I could buy that might help me, none of which worked.
Yeah, yeah. I know exactly how you feel. And like just feeling um like just wanting someone to help you so bad. Like just give me the and just
Yeah.
give me like I will do what
Tell
you
me
tell
the
me.
thing to do.
Just tell me what to do. Like there's nothing and I didn't have a big budget, but I would have
Yeah.
put my house on a second mortgage is how bad it was
Yeah.
to get the right answer. But I just wanted the guidance and I couldn't get that. I was just
Yeah.
like everyone treated you like just do this treatment. It was just like random things, like
Yes.
you said, and not like nothing worked. And I wanted so bad for that answer. And that was challenging. So
Yeah,
I
I
totally
spent
understand.
thousands of dollars on stuff that didn't work. And
Same.
that made it worse. Like I did a heat-based like treatment that didn't work, that made it so much worse. Um, where my skin was not only more pigmented, but also more red and way more sensitive. I started looking more like I had rosacea because I had like so much redness around my nose and like other parts of my face. Yeah, and that was thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to do that.
That was my next question. What treatments have
Yeah.
you tried? Which one was that you did?
It was a radio frequency microneedling treatment. And was supposed to like tighten my skin and help pigment and all the things. It didn't do anything for any of those things. Like, I don't think my skin got any like tighter. My pigment was worse, just overall looked worse. I broke out more. I was so much more sensitive. everything that like touched my skin was like making it redder and more irritated after that. And that was like a series of three. I went through a series of three of these things and they hurt like
Yeah.
heck. Like it's like torture. And it made it worse. And yeah, and that was thousands of dollars. I've also done like over time peels, things like that. I mean, some of those I would say help somewhat, but it's temporary because then now what I've learned through you is like if I don't have the skincare protocol that's maintaining those results or improving those results, then it just comes back like, over time.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, I- I've probably tried like every skincare product under the sun, like individual, like I would do all the research on individual products, but I never had
Right.
anyone like giving me like, here's the protocol of how to use it so that your skin will be stronger and better over time. And so I would get some reactions with a product or something, and then I would just like stop using it because I didn't know what I was doing. And I felt worried about it.
Right. And what makes it so different, I think, with us, which throws people off whenever they start with us, is that you see so many people advertising, get this package of three, or this,
Yes.
this quick treatment, or the the thing that makes me giggle. I should make whatever upsets me and makes me giggle at the same time is people will post the before, but the before picture is like right after they did the laser treatment, so it looks worse than what it really is. And
Yes.
they'll post it like right after, which of course it looks better because they're exfoliating all of those top layers, but what does your skin do to heat? Like, how does your skin react to heat? What is a
Yeah.
tan? A tan is your skin crying for help. Like, that's a reaction to heat. That's what heat does. And so you may not see that reaction right away from the heat. It may take years, just like the sun damage on my arms and legs didn't happen from yesterday or even
Mhm.
last summer. It happened when I laid out on my roof on the 80s. Like, that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's all we had to do, right? So I lived in a small town. That's literally what we did. Like, we used
Yeah.
go and iodine and all, like, I think like, what the hell was I thinking? And I'm paying for it now. So heated treatments don't necessarily affect you right away. It can definitely affect you later. But also what's very different is people will say, get this treatment of three. So when people come to us at first, I think what causes a little bit of confusion with some people that are like inquiring is, how long will I have to do this? How long will I
Yeah.
forever? Because once you damage your skin, like, that pigment is there.
Yes.
You have to make your skin act and think that it's younger. And so it starts acting like your cells start acting the way that they did when they were younger. So your skin starts looking like it did when it was younger. But if you
Yeah.
stop those treatments, it comes right back. And
Yeah.
that's the truth that nobody ever wants to tell you, because probably you would scare the hell. I mean, like,
Right.
I can tell you that probably honestly, like, in my beginning stages of my own pigment, I, like everyone that comes to us, wants a quick answer. I mean, it's our human nature. That's what we want. We want,
Yeah.
give it to me now, and I don't want to work too hard for it, right? So I
Yeah.
can't say that I would have at the beginning found somebody and said, they would have said, well, this is going to take forever, and you're going to have to do this forever. And me being on a budget that didn't allow for, much at that time, I don't know that I wouldn't have jumped to the next place looking
Right.
for that answer that I wanted. Now, as
Right.
time went on, I was just not, then I wanted the real answer, but I can imagine how, like, the reason that places do this is because they would turn away most of the clientele because it's not what we
Yeah.
want to hear, but it's absolutely the truth. So our approach is very different because I'm very straightforward, as you know.
Yes.
But it's all because of what happened to me, and that's always been my mission. So with heated treatments, what we have found
Mm.
is that I have not seen anything outperform microneedling, just
Yeah.
plain
Plain
microneedling,
microneedling. Yeah.
not all the upsells, just plain microneedling, but you have to do it every single month or the
Hmm.
results stop. And then also just regular skincare.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel
And to
like
your point, like it's not the stuff that like I'm sure that the spas make so much money off of these laser machines and that kind of stuff, right? They're not like the most lucrative treatments, but just to your point, like it's just sort of like the fundamentals of nutrition and stuff like that. It's like it's just those are the building blocks of how you get long-term
Right.
results.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I've always, whenever I start, our business has always been very, very different than other med
Mm,
spas. So I feel like no one really does what we do because we
yeah.
are so different. But it's always been my mission to only offer what works, which is crazy that we have an entire business microneedling and skincare. Like literally, we have a hydrofacial, we have several hydrofacial machines that we do like as add-ons or whatever if people want, but I will be the first to tell our patients it's a glorified car wash.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Yeah.
it, you know, and I should talk it up more because they're extremely expensive. Um but and they're great. Hydrofacials are great. They clean out your skin like nobody's business, better than any facial that I've ever seen. But the result's very temporary. So if you're not, and it will never ever do what microneedling will do. So
Yeah.
like don't opt on hydrofacial over microneedling. That's exactly what we tell our
Yes.
patients.
Yeah.
So we are very, very different in a lot of things. Let's see. Once you once you started working with us, how long did it take for the protocols to start working?
So you started me off on protocols. I was really like supporting my barrier because, like I said, I was so red and still kind of irritated from the previous stuff I was on. I was still recovering, I think, from that radio frequency treatment, and so I was on that for a little, probably couple months, and then started on correctives. I mean, I would say within like 2 weeks of being on correctives, my skin started looking so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was having reactions, my skin was looking better. Like you could tell that the skin coming through and underneath was better. Like the pigment was calming down because I had been on your protocols before to build up my skin barrier. It was also just less red to start with and irritated. I was breaking out less. Um, and it was a month in that I think I sent you all like my first. I wasn't even due for a check-in yet, and I just was like so blown away with how different my skin looked that I sent a picture to the text line, just being like, "Look how much better it looks! Like it's already so good," and like it just feels. And now I'm like almost 8 weeks in, and it's like. I almost feel like I never had the kind of pigment problems I had before, just in terms of like how like my baseline better my skin looks. I was like, I can't, when I look back, I can't believe it was even the same
I,
face.
I love that. I love that. It's the you don't it's like don't even look back. We're just only
Yeah.
moving forward. Yep. And it's also important to know, you know, was it kind of frustrating for you at the beginning that we couldn't go into correctives right away? Or did you understand that process?
I did. I understood. I mean, again, I was like putting all my trust in you all. That was kind of how I was coming to it because I was seeing your results. You were so real and how you talked about things. I was like, I will do what they're telling me to do. I knew that what I had tried before didn't work. So that wasn't, my own ideas about things probably wasn't the way to
Mm,
go because I hadn't fixed my own skin. And of course, I think it's normal to want to be like, let's just get to the correctives right now and do it all right away. But I did feel like my skin was red and irritated,
mhm.
and your protocols have so much in them that feeds the skin. And so when I had the products, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. This is like really feeding my skin. This stuff feels really good. The order I was doing things like it felt like it seemed right to me.
Right, right. You have to, it's so important that you keep that barrier strengthened whenever we're doing these correctives because if you cause too much inflammation, then you're actually hurting the skin. And so
Yeah.
it's really, really important to understand and, like you said, trust the whole protocol and like just know, and you can't go through the protocol picking and choosing. You have to do you have to follow it exactly because every single step, every single product has a purpose and so obviously you understood that because your skin is, I keep staring at your skin. It looks amazing. It looks so good. It looks so good. What were some challenges? Like, how did you feel about the protocol when you first got it? how long it is. I mean, not necessarily that's a lot of products. It might be more than what you were used to using, but just like getting that PDF of
Yeah.
our explanation, the Dawn novel that comes with it. Like, um, I was an English teacher, I can't help it, but I'm very, very detailed. So
Yes.
did you feel overwhelmed with that? How did you approach that?
Yeah, to be like, I'll just share my again because I was kind of like a skincare junkie before. To be honest, I sort of loved it personally. Like, I print it out, I keep it in my drawer, my in my bathroom, so I could like look at it and follow it. The first time I got one, I did create like I read through the whole thing and then I wrote on like a post-it the order of the things just so I could look at it quickly when I was doing my skin. Now I'm much more used to the protocols, and so is more second nature to me to understand them when I get them and look through them. But I think like creating a little short version can help you when you just need to look at it quickly to make sure you do it in the right order. But I really appreciate the amount of instruction because again, like I don't know, it just makes me feel like I'm doing something important that's going to work. And if I do this the right way, I'm going to get the results. And so my husband jokes with me. He's like, "Are you looking at your skincare paperwork again?" Like, yeah, I'm just checking the back,
Just
make sure I
double
have this all right. Yeah. And so I think for me personally, the way I work, the thoroughness of it is sort of helps increase the trust. I think where I was getting before and working with different providers, it felt more off the cuff and less formal. And then that just like didn't have me trusting that it was going to work.
I love that you wrote down your short version because as a teacher, like when you write, you learn, right?
It's
So like
true.
writing that down, like as you're saying this, I'm like, should I ask our software developers to give a short version too after we put the long version? But I'm thinking like a
No,
teacher
I think if you
talking,
go
I'm
through
like,
the process,
no,
like,
no,
yeah, I
no, no, they
just
need to
used like
write
a
it. They need to
sticky
write
note
it
like
because
this and did like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And just like did it from that. And I would like put it on the top of it and I would still have the whole thing in my drawer so I could like consult it. But and once you do that, I do think it's so much easier to then just get in the rhythm of it. And the products do have like a rhythm in terms of the order, even as they move around. And so it becomes easier over time.
right, right. I love that. I love that you write it down though, because definitely, I mean, it's a lot easier to look at than because when we give a protocol, it's like product one, the explanation, product two,
Yes.
how to do it, like so if you already know how to do it, you just need to remind yourself of the order. I love that you did that. And then I mean,
Yeah.
I've had
But
people like actually tape our 4-page regimen to their wall, like it's like
yeah.
artwork on their bathroom wall. And
Yeah, you
they'll
could do
get
that. I mean,
pictures
I
and
spent
I'm
a lot
like,
of time watching all the like the videos and looking at the binder stuff on the portal at first too that just gives a ton of explanation. Again, I
Mhm.
wanted that. Like I wanted the guidance to tell me exactly what to do, how much to use, how to think about the products. I I I love the guidance.
Good. I love that. I'm glad that it was helpful. And you either love it or you hate it. Like some
Yeah.
people are like, I don't have time for this. And I'm like, well, keep your pigment. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
you're not gonna, and
Well,
I can pretty much guarantee you'll keep your pigment or hop to place to place to place again, and you won't get, this is the only thing that works. I don't care
yeah.
who's doing it, whether it's us or someone else or, whatever, like you've got to, if you don't go through this process, it's not gonna work. There's no fast answer, there's none.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
I've
mean,
never
I believe it.
it's just I've never seen anything to let me know that I'm wrong about this. I've never seen a portfolio, I've never seen any one treatments
Hmm.
that have beat what we're doing. So
Yeah.
it takes work. So it's work on our part as much as it is your part. I know you guys are going through the reactions, but we're the coach.
Yeah.
We have to we have to be
Yeah, no,
team
and,
guys sometimes. So
I mean, I would hope that like, I guess if I was giving a sort of, advice to a new patient, I would just say like, just take the sign of like the amount of documentation as like how seriously they're taking what they do,
mhm,
and that means a lot to me. And then you do pay a lot of money for the products. So like use them the way you're being instructed to
Right.
use them so that you
Yeah.
can get what you're looking for.
And you can't pick apart. Like sometimes I'm like, why? You know, when people will check in, and it's not very many, but people that are deviating from the protocol are not doing what they're supposed to do when they do their, like, we give a specific order of everything. It's very laid out. And then they'll check in. Of course, they don't have results and they've picked apart. And I'm like, why are you paying me?
Yeah,
Like,
right,
why are you paying
right.
me? Because I'm
Yeah,
telling you exactly what to do. So if you're not going to put in that level of dedication and trust and consistency, don't waste your time and money because you're
yeah,
100% going to waste. You might get some result, but you're not going to get what I call a spruce result. And I'm not going to be happy with the results until it looks like yours. Like I'm not
right,
like
right.
it's got to be gone. Not just a little. That's some pigment still left. No, no, no.
Yeah,
That's not. I am not. I'm going to drag you across the finish line, kicking and screaming.
yeah,
We're going to do this thing, right? And you're going to love it and be so happy that you did it. That's that's what we love to do, and that's what we're here for. But
yeah.
ultimately, you're the driver. I'm just in the passenger seat nagging you, you know. So that's
Yeah, yeah, and I
that's just
like
where
I'm
we get.
really in this for the long term. I mean, when I look at people who are aging, I'm in my mid 40s, and when I look at people who are older than me, the people that look youthful to me aren't the people that have tons of Botox and filler. They're the people that have clear, even skin. And
Right.
you can have, wrinkles and whatever, but like if your skin is glowing, you look youthful. Like that's why I want to do this is to be able to maintain that for a long time.
That's interesting that you said that. Like I used to think before this laser incident happened to me, like Botox and everything was real. And I'm not against Botox. Look,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do
No,
Botox.
I've done it.
So I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not against it, but when you get too much of it, or too much filler or whatever, or when you do it without taking care of your skin, you look like you have frozen bad skin. Like
Exactly.
I look back and I never realized that before. Like you know, like I get Botox way less than I was a two and a
Yeah.
half month 52 unit girl, like every 2.5 months. Now
Yeah.
I'm like 2 to 3 times a year, 20 something units. Like
Amazing.
it's crazy. And I'm not saying yes, I'm aging. I'm 50, almost 52 years old in a couple of weeks.
Amazing.
And
You look incredible.
I thank you. I have wrinkles. I'm not perfect. I'm not
Yeah.
near like, and I do look at my skin sometimes and go like, oh my God, I'm aging. Everything's falling, whatever. But the first thing I think, like wrinkles and things don't bother me as much as they used to
Yeah.
because my skin looks healthy.
That's
And I
right.
feel like it's the same thing with everyone else. Like whenever we see like a before picture, typically, you know, it's a train wreck. Like
Mhm.
everybody that gets started, it's typical. That's why you're here,
That's why
right?
we're here.
And been there, I've been there. And so the first thing you see is somebody with pigment, but also the texture is so different. So the
Yes.
texture ages you so
Yes.
much more than wrinkles do. And the
Yes.
texture is, I think, as important as getting rid of the pigment
Yes.
because
Yeah, but
even when you want to wear makeup after, like if you have a special event where you want to have a little bit of makeup on, your makeup goes on so much prettier and you're going to want to
yes.
use so much less of it because you want that natural, healthy glow to come through.
Yep.
So I think that's something that people just don't realize. And me just as guilty before I did any of this is that I spent so much money on Botox and fillers
Yeah.
that I didn't set aside a budget for skincare. It was always like, I can't afford all that skincare. Let me just I would randomly get stuff. Well, my skin looked like shit. Like it just,
Right.
you know, like
Yeah.
I look fake. I look back and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, what
Right. It's like,
was
yeah,
it?
it's like frozen pigmented skin.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
yeah,
like
what's the point?
sometimes my mom, I can remember my mom used to tell me like, Dawn, you look so much better when you don't do all those fillers. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. I look back and I'm like, oh my God, my mom's right. I look like crap.
Yeah, and I'll say my texture is completely different. The other thing I'll say for people who struggle with acne is like I think since I started correctives, I've had like two pimples, period. Like it's just like not happening anymore. And I
Mhm.
thought it was like, I mean, I've had acne since I was a teenager. Like I've struggled with it and gone through periods where it's been better or worse, but it's just not something I have to think about.
Yeah. And to like we don't ever advertise like that we treat acne because
Yeah.
acne really comes from within and you have to like change, you know, I can't change the things that are happening from within. A lot of times it's hormones, diet, all of those things. Um, but when your skin is healthier, it's more
Hmm.
resilient. So
Yeah.
like, and a lot of times pigment comes with acne
Yeah.
because oily prone skin causes a level of inflammation because of that thick waxy layer of sebum it produces between the epidermal and dermal layers, so those cells can't communicate. So once you treat that oil like that, like you make those skin cells start doing what they're supposed to be doing and control the oil production, those things get better, communication between the cells get better, and then you just don't have those breakouts
Yeah.
near as much anymore. Maybe you still have it a little bit, but you don't have it near as much because the skin's
Yeah.
resilient and it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So,
Yeah.
but it's interesting because I don't ever like I wouldn't call myself an acne specialist. I'm like it's not my forte.
Yeah.
Not pigment is, but we have so many patients that are acne prone because pigment that's not caused from a laser like mine, like this hormonal pigment, whatever, is
Yes.
associated with typically oily skin.
Yeah. And that was my situation, right?
Yeah.
It was hormonal. It was like post-pregnancy. I'd always had really oily skin. So it was
Yeah.
all of those factors.
So I think we talked about like so my next question was when do you start I think we have answered all of my questions. Our conversation has been going. Like you started noticing results right away. That was one of my questions. How did it make you feel? How do you feel about your skin now? Like what's
Yeah.
changed?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think for me, it's just like they're so, it's sort of like a not having to think about it, right? Like, yes, I spend time doing my protocol, but like during the day, I'm not thinking or like hyper aware that my skin might be looking X, Y, or Z, or somebody might be looking at my pigment. And that's kind of the best feeling is to have like your skin just be your skin, and then you can feel confident about all the things in your life and just kind of go about your day. I think, like I said, I've never been a big makeup person, so just being able to feel good without makeup on, with just some sunscreen on, go out the door and feel good is
Mhm.
incredible. It's an incredible feeling. I think even like with, I will say, even with some of the reactions that I've had to the correctives, I get so many compliments on my skin. And it's funny because it hasn't so much been like, oh my God, your skin looks completely different. It's been more like, you look great. Like, what are you doing? It's sort of more of this overall feeling of like, I just look better. I look brighter. I look, more glowy, healthier in general. Which just makes you feel good, right? It's not a feeling of like, oh, what did you have done? It's a feeling of like, you look good, yourself, which is
Mhm.
so nice.
Yeah. It's like you said, I think that it trickles down to other things, like with
Hmm.
your confidence, because when you're confident, it shows from within. And so
Yeah.
even our patients that we see in the clinic, like the first time they come, so many of them I can say this, that they're very insecure when they first come. Like
Mhm.
pictures. I'm sure they're dreading pictures of us.
Yes.
We're like, yeah, it's one thing you guys take your own pictures and send to us, but when you come in the clinic, like we're in your face, taking like how I mean, I've been in that situation, like, oh, taking pictures of my face, like, oh, what are they seeing, kind of thing. And
Hmm.
then as time goes on, the next couple of months, they come in and it's like they can't wait for their pictures and can't wait to see the side by side, and just the whole like glow in your
Yeah.
eyes, even like
Yeah.
just like the confidence just is, even the way you hold yourself sitting upright or all, you're just the confidence is just there, which is
Yeah.
beautiful in itself without even
Yes.
the skin change, and then I
Yeah.
also see it trickle into other things like even getting fit, like that
Mhm.
hasn't happened for me, but I can't I need to really get on this thing because it's I always joke about my fitness because I'm so not disciplined and I need to be. But often when people come in, you start seeing like I've had people where their before picture, their weight has changed so much from their before to their
Mm.
after. I'm like, I can't even use your side by side because people
Yeah.
are going to accuse me of a job. This is not the same person
Well, no,
because
I mean, I
it
think it's
trickles
true. It's like
down.
I think societally, we sometimes think if we feel bad about ourselves, we're going to feel motivated to take care of ourselves. It's just the opposite, right?
Mhm.
It's like if we feel good about ourselves, we feel motivated to take care of ourselves and to like maintain it and invest in ourselves. And, I'll say one thing I've noted, one. really great thing is like my daughters really like to take selfies with me. And this like a thing is like moms are never in pictures with their kids. And so I like try to take pictures with my kids when we're places, we do selfies and stuff. I always hate, like historically, I've like hated those pictures of me. My kids love having them, and of course it's special to have them. But like now, like over the holidays, I have like some selfies with my kids. I'm like, I look great,
Oh,
and these are
I
great
love it.
pictures.
I
And like
love that.
that's like an awesome feeling.
I love that. And I've never heard anybody put it the way that you just put it. Like when you feel good about yourself, you're motivated to do better. And I think that's very, very true. I
Yeah,
think
and
that's
just like
very, very true.
invest in yourself.
When you don't feel good about yourself, you just keep like, well, I'm just,
Yeah,
yeah.
like what's
I
the
mean,
point, right?
right.
But if you can just invest in yourself and get that boost to feel good about how you're showing up in the world and how you feel about yourself, then it does, I think, trickle down. It has like such a positive effect on so many other aspects of how you care for yourself.
I agree. Okay, sum it up. If you had, for people that are watching this, that are on the fence, are, whatever, what would you tell them?
I would just say if you can commit to doing what Dawn and the team are telling you to do, you will get results. Like you will get the results that you want. And so you just have to make the decision, like, do I want to commit to doing some work, to making the investment in myself? And then in not that long, you can look and feel so much better.
I love that. Thank you so much for your time. And it means so
Um,
much to us that you are willing to help other people because that's what it's all about. So
yeah, it's so my pleasure. Thank you for everything you and the team do.
you are very welcome. Have an amazing day.